Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 2nd of January and we have entered 2025. So I would want to wish a very happy new year to all of you. May this new year be full of successes, full of learnings and full of love and humility. And your efforts like they were in 2024 should not be in 2025. They should be one notch above because then only you will be one step closer to success. That should be the resolve which you should be taking for this year, that is 2025. This definitely will bring you more closer to success. But anyways, let's start with today's analysis. The first topic which we are going to cover is ISRO's Spadex mission. It is all about space docking. And India has launched two satellites in the space. Docking as of now has not happened and it will be happening on 7th of January. But yes, what docking is, it is simply where two, spacecrafts, they are coming closer to each other and attaching themselves to each other. Space docking becomes important for space stations. Space docking becomes important for sample bring back missions, payload transfers and all can happen. And it also becomes important for interplanetary missions. And India, if it is successful, will be the fourth such country to achieve it after USA, Russia and China. This is going to add a feather in the cap of achievements of our space agencies and our space program. Next is Norovirus. This virus has been on the rise in United States of America. People from all age groups, specifically children, are getting impacted due to this. This virus can be, you know, transmitted to the humans by consuming contaminated food items as well as by coming in close contact with the infected person. It leads to diarrheal infections, vomitings and all. And yes, it is curable. It has a cure, but yes, it is not fatal as such. Then next is 6.21 lakh applications for the internship opportunities under the PM internship program have been there. And how many opportunities were outlisted? Outlisted were 1.27 lakh opportunities. And for that, applications are 6.21 lakh applications, almost six times. So this clearly highlights first the success of this scheme. Second, you know, the vast amount of pool which we have, which is looking for internships like you know uh, vocational trainings and such like things. So yes, we should be you know creating an atmosphere, we should be creating a platform to accommodate all these aspirants. Then only India will be proceeding further at a faster pace. We will be dealing with the MCQs based on these three topics and discussing the answers to the MCQs of the 30th of December 2024. Now, ISRO's Spadex mission. So, Spadex simply means Space Docking Experiment. So, this is Space Docking Experiment mission. What is docking? A spacecraft will go closer to another spacecraft, which is this one, and they will, you know, club together. That is called as docking. Now, if India becomes successful, now India has launched two spacecrafts. They have not docked yet. The docking date is expected to be somewhere around 7th of January. But yes, if they successfully dock, so India's, technological advancements in the space domain again will be highlighted. And India will become the fourth such country to have such technological capabilities. So what is space docking? It involves two spacecrafts connecting while in orbit, allowing them to operate together and perform complex tasks. Now, this particular technology, space docking, is essential for three particular domains. First is building space stations. So, the Prime Minister of India has announced that the Bharatiya Antariksh station will be launched or will be operational by 2035. This is the date which the Prime Minister announced after the success of Chandrayaan 3. Now, what are space stations? Space stations are laboratories in the space where the astronauts are, present, and they are doing experiments in the space. Like, for example, International Space Station. So, the spacecraft takes an astronaut, attaches or docks itself with the space station in the space, and then the astronauts are transferred from that spacecraft to the space stations. So, here docking becomes important. So, this we are talking about building a space station by 2035, but for that, the prerequisite is this capabilities in docking technologies. So, that is where it is going to be used. Then interplanetary missions. So it allows multiple spacecrafts to combine resources for long-term missions to the moon, Mars, or other destinations. So, distant destinations, you require more fuel. You launch a spacecraft with fuel, then with additional fuel, you launch another spacecraft. So when they dock in the space, so it is like fuel is additional present, and due to that additional present fuel, they can go to longer distances, and hence interplanetary missions will be possible. Then payload transfer. Docking enables the transfer of large payloads or modules which cannot be launched in a single spacecraft. So, like for example, sample bring back missions, like the Chinese Chang'e 6 mission, which was launched last year, 2024. It was like, you know, a lander landed on the moon surface, collected the samples, you know, lifted up in the air, and then it attached with the orbiter. Orbiter brought back, one component of the orbiter brought back those samples. So that docking was needed there also. So here in payload transfer, the payload here is samples which have to be brought back. They, you know, become important. The docking technology becomes important in payload transfers and all. And Chandrayaan 4 is all about sample bring back missions from the moon, and that is going to be India's first sample bring back mission. So this docking technology becomes very important in that scenario as well. Now talking about the mission overview of the Spadex mission. Now it is designed to test first ever space docking by India. Countries like US, Russia and China have the docking technologies. If India's docking experiment becomes successful, we'll come to know about it on 7th of January. So India's name will be added in this list. Now the launch vehicle, we have launched two satellites. The launch vehicle used to launch those satellites, PSLV C-60. It is Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. It is ISRO's workhorse rocket, was used for this mission. It was launched on the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. Primary objective is to demonstrate space docking, where two satellites will connect and operate together in orbit. And this technology is crucial for future missions involving large space structures like the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, BAS, and interplanetary exploration. So, that is what the significance of this is. Now, key mission components. So, as I said, that two satellites have been launched. So, we'll study about those satellites. But yes, the PSLV C-60 rocket, which launched those satellites. So, PSLV is very versatile rocket, and it has a very high success rate. And most of the satellites are launched through this, PSLV, especially those satellites if they have to be deployed in the polar orbits or the geosynchronous orbits. We use PSLV. Satellite deployment. Rocket successfully deployed two small satellites into the low Earth orbit, LEO. These two satellites were SDX-01 chaser satellites, SDX-02 target satellite. The chaser satellite will chase the target satellite, and they are launched in the low Earth orbit. Docking process. SDX-01 chaser satellite will gradually close the distance to the SDX-02 target satellite. The mission aims to reduce the distance in a step-by-step process. So this is, let's suppose, the target satellite. This is the chaser satellite. So this chaser satellite will go towards the target satellite, and it will reduce the distance from 5 kilometers to 1.5 kilometers to 500 meters, 225 meters, 15 meters, and then 3 meters. And then finally 0 it will be. So once docked, means the distance has become 0. Both satellites will exchange electrical power for a brief period before undocking and continuing their separate paths. So it is just an experiment where we want to demonstrate, or where we want to test that can we dock or not. So docking will be there, electricity transmission will be there, means completely docking has been successful. This will mean, and then undocking will happen. Undocking date January 7, 2025. It is scheduled for and it is expected on this date, but let's see what happens. Now, components and technology of the Spadex mission: SDX-01 Chaser satellite, tracking on docking, equipped with high resolution cameras for visual tracking and docking assistance. The Chaser satellite will gradually approach the target satellite and attempt to dock. The docking mechanism uses sophisticated guidance systems to ensure precise and safe docking. SDX-02 target satellite, there is this multispectral payload. Target satellite is equipped with instruments to monitor Earth's natural resources, vegetation, and space radiation. Propulsion systems, it contains propulsions to maintain an optimal distance and relative motion with the chaser satellite during the docking process. So, relative motion will come into picture. Docking process. Now, after the two satellites, they'll be placed around 475 kilometers in the circular orbit. There is a low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit is less than 1000 kilometers, roughly. Docking procedure will begin with a 20-kilometer separation between the satellite. Chaser satellite will gradually reduce the distance by using its thrusters to counter the relative motion and avoid drifting. Now, after the final docking, electrical power will be transferred between the two satellites before undocking and continuing separate missions. So these satellites have separate missions. They have different payloads. Obviously, ISRO doesn't want to only send satellites for docking and undocking. They have been launched with separate payloads. They have to perform their function, and one of the key functions is docking and undocking also. So it is this way. Scientific and technological innovations. Now we're talking about the payloads which are there mounted on those satellites. POEM, that is PS4 orbital experimental module for 24 different technologies contributed by ISRO, Indian startups, and academic institutions. These include technologies for satellite servicing, space sustainability, and biological studies. Second is CROPS, Compact Research Module for Orbital Plant Studies, focuses on plant growth in microgravity, which is vital for growing food during long duration space missions. This research can help scientists understand the effects of microgravity on plant cells, and develop systems for growing food in space. Then robotic arms, the capture arms designed to capture space debris. Space debris is a growing menace because a lot of satellites, when they complete their life cycle, they are of no use, but they still orbiting. They still keep on orbiting in the orbits, and obviously they are increasing the traffic over there. So this movable robotic arm is tested for satellite servicing tasks like repairing, refueling, maintaining satellites in the orbit. So, and this capture arm is for capturing the debris, bringing that back in on the earth, or whatever will be. So this is kind of a cleaning up process, debris capture arm. Then other experiments, Amity University studying plant cell behavior in microgravity to compare how cells behave in space versus on Earth. That was launched by some students and studying in the Amity University here in Noida. Then RV College of Engineering, Bengaluru, studying gut bacteria growth curves in space to investigate how microorganisms behave in the absence of gravity. Then synthetic aperture radar, testing radar systems for Earth observation, focusing on natural resource monitoring and vegetation mapping. So India and NASA are about to launch this NISAR, NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar. So for that, testing is being done through these satellites as well. Then green propulsion systems. The mission includes the demonstration of a green propulsion system that uses environmentally friendly propellants as opposed to the traditional toxic chemicals used in conventional rockets. So India's space mission is becoming green as well. Now, talking about the future impacts, Bharatiya Antariksh Station, it is announced to be launched in 2035, and yes, docking and undocking is a vital component for a space station to work, to function. Chandrayaan 4 mission set to bring lunar samples back to Earth, and for that, payload transfer. sample bring back mission, docking and docking is important. Heavy payload missions, where more fuel is required for interplanetary missions and all, or for long distance projects. So their docking becomes important. It allows multiple spacecraft to combine resources for carrying out complex tasks that would otherwise require two larger spacecraft to be launched in a single mission. And two larger spacecraft being launched in a single mission, you know, there are more chances of failure of those missions. The launch failures can be there. So yes, for that, separate missions can be launched lighter and then they can dock in the space to perform the desired task. Then India's position in global space exploration. So talking about, this docking, if it is successful, India will be the fourth country after USA, uh, China and Russia. But yes, overall, if I talk about India's space program globally, our space program is known to be a cost effective space program. And yes, you know, space agencies like NASA have also acknowledged this. Now, the global significance, successful completion of this particular docking experiment will make India the fourth country. I've already told you. After whom? Technological leadership. Spadex mission reinforces India's role as global technology innovator in space. It paves the way for international collaborations in the areas of satellite servicing, space station construction, and interplanetary exploration. And private sector and research collaboration. So multiple payloads in this SpaceX mission have been contributed by the private sector as well. So India's private sector with respect to the space domain is now proliferating. There have been some institutional changes or some structural changes also in India's space program since 2021. And yes, we have started to see the results of it. So, this is what will make India's position in the global space framework or global space landscape more and more vibrant and more strong, I would say. So, yes, all the best to the team ISRO. Let's see on January 7 what happens with this particular mission. Next is Norovirus. Now, in December 2024, there have been a significant surge in the norovirus cases in United States of America. And know this is generally witnessed in the winter months. And this year also it has been there. Now, what is norovirus? It is a very contagious virus, first of all, that causes vomiting and diarrhea like symptoms. And yes, it spreads through contaminated food and through close contact. The symptoms, diarrhea, stomach pain, vomiting, nausea, all these are the symptoms. And they can be prevented also, like washing hands, cleaning up stool fast, and don't cook for others while sick, clean surfaces with disinfectants and all those hygiene measures which we have to take, what we were taking during COVID, because that was also a virus. This is also a virus, but yes, this gets spread through close contact. That through normal contact also it got spread. Now the recent surge of the norovirus cases. Now, the number of outbreaks surged to 91 from 69 outbreaks the week before, marking a 25% increase. Historically, the first week of December has seen fewer than 65 outbreaks, making this rise particularly concerning. Generally, it is there every winter in United States of America and the neighboring countries where winters are severe. But yes, this year the outbreak was more severe than the previous years. This increase in cases signals that the virus is spreading across the country, especially as outbreaks are common during winter months, typically peaking between November and April. The outbreak statistics: on average, the US sees about 2,500 norovirus outbreaks annually. These outbreaks are most common in congregate settings such as cruise ships, nursing homes, schools, and correctional facilities, where individuals are in close contact or close proximity to each other. Now, symptoms of norovirus. So, it is highly contagious, first of all, and even very small number of viral particles, as few as 10, can lead to transfer of this disease from one individual to the other individual. Now, what are the symptoms of norovirus? Norovirus has the following symptoms: sudden onset of vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, stomach pain and cramping, body aches, headache, and fever. And it lasts for 1 to 3 days, and people typically recover without requiring medical intervention. However, virus can lead to serious health complications as well, such as dehydration, especially in vulnerable populations. Vulnerable populations means children and the elderlies. And this can lead to, fatalities as well. But yes, this virus in itself is not fatal. Talking about transmission, it is highly contagious in nature. We know that. Person to person contact, it leads to the spread of virus. Contaminated surface and objects, that leads to, the spread of virus. Contaminated food or water, that leads to spread of virus. And yes, since these are the three ways this virus is spread, the way to contain this virus is also hidden in precautionary measures with respect to these three things. Now, who is at risk? Older adults aged 65 and above. Young children and infants are at risk, higher risk for dehydration due to their smaller body size and greater fluid turnover. And individuals with weakened immune system, they are at higher risk. This virus in itself gets, treated, lasts for 1 to 3 days as we saw. But yes, if it becomes severe, then it leads to, conditions like dehydration and all, which can be complicated for the human body. How to manage sickness? Hydration is the key. Drink fluids like water, oral rehydration solutions, ORS, clear broths to replenish lost fluids, and avoid drinks like coffee, tea, and alcohol, which can worsen dehydration. Then seek medical attention if symptoms of severe dehydration occur. These symptoms include decreased urination, dry mouth and throat, dizziness or lightheadedness, fatigue or weakness, and for children, unusual sleepiness, fussiness, or crying with little or no tears. So, this you need to, see, and if these are there, then approach the medical experts. Now, the next piece of news is 6.21 lakh applications for 1.27 lakh opportunities under the PM internship scheme. The scheme was launched in October. We covered the details of the scheme then. And now, you know, we've seen the, I would say, huge response to this particular scheme. 6.21 lakh applicants for 1.27 lakh opportunities. And these opportunities are there in the private sector, government sector, both. You know, this scheme is for both. So, yes, Prime Minister's internship scheme witnessed an overwhelming response in this pilot phase with 6.21 lakh applications received for 1.2 lakh internship opportunities offered by Union Corporate Affairs Ministry. On December 29, 2024, this ministry released and confirmed that the selection process for these internships is ongoing. It was initially announced in 2024 Union Budget as part of a broader initiative aimed at enhancing employability and providing young individuals with real-life business exposure. The application surge highlights the growing demand among youth for opportunities that will allow them to gain professional skills as well. Now, overview of this particular scheme. It was introduced with the goal of providing internship opportunities. Internship means you get exposure, you get the skills, and if the employer or offerer of this internship to you is happy with your work, they can offer you full-time opportunities. But yes, that is on the basis of your performance. And the ultimate aim is to provide these opportunities, internship opportunities, to 1 crore youth of the country over the years. And over the years means over 5 years in top 500 companies. The scheme is designed to offer young people hands-on exposure in various business environments across different sectors and professions, significantly boosting their future career prospects. The target audience, it is scheme is open to youth across India, providing opportunities to students and fresh graduates. Yes, one condition here is that, you know, the family income should be less than 8 lakh rupees. Internship duration will last for 12 months with the possibility of learning in varied roles and industries. Financial support for the interns. Interns selected under the scheme will receive financial assistance to support their learning journey. Monthly stipend of 5,000 for each intern. 4,500 of this amount will be provided by the union government. 500 per month will be contributed by the partner companies through their corporate social responsibility funds. And incidental grant, interns will also be entitled to a one-time grant of rupees 6,000 to cover incidental expenses upon joining the internship. So yes, this amount in the beginning 6,000 and then 5,000 per month, out of which 4,500 will be borne by the government. But yes, the government will make them work, and for that work, this stipend will be given. So it is not a freebie. We can understand it in this way. Launch and progress of the scheme. Pilot phase. We were targeting 1.25 lakh internship opportunities in 2024-25 and officially launched on October 3, 2024. And for this 1.25 lakh or 1.27 lakh, around more than 6 lakh, applications are there. There's this online portal, pminternship.nca.gov.in, where applications can be, you know, filed by the, internship seekers, and the partner companies are also listed over there. So accordingly, you will be getting a call for interview, and then you will be shortlisted if you are for these internships. Applicant statistics, applications received 6.21 lakh applications for 1.27 lakh opportunities. Approximately 4.87 lakh youth have completed their KYC, Know Your Customer process, and registered on the portal. Who knows that this might be the gateway for the future of these aspirants. Now, impact and benefits, exposure to top companies. Internship scheme aims to give participants real world exposure to some of India's top 500 companies, enhancing their employability and business acumen. Increased youth participation. Overwhelming number of applicants demonstrate the eagerness of youth to participate in skill building initiatives that promise valuable industry experience. Financial support of 5,000 rupees will be given per month, and an upfront support of 6,000 rupees will be given to the applicants, to the shortlisted applicants, I would say. So, this is definitely going to be impactful for overall India's employment, I would say, scenario. Future plans and expectations. The PM internship scheme is expected to grow significantly over the next 5 years with a target to provide internship opportunities to 1 crore youth. This ambitious initiative aligns with the government's broader skill development and employment generation strategies. So, just look at this particular scheme from the employer point of view. 500 rupees per month you are giving to that individual who is working as an intern in your company, 4,500 being contributed by the government. Your CSR is being fulfilled. You are contributing 500 rupees to your CSR. And out of these interns working in your company, they are learning the industry specific skill of your company. They are going to be a ready workforce for the future. You will not have to invest in their training in the future if you plan to employ them, or if you plan to give them the opportunities. That will streamline, or that will, make available a workforce which is ready to work in your in your company. So from your viewpoint, from an employer's viewpoint, this is good. From the government's viewpoint, it is good because a skilled workforce is being prepared for the future. And from the intern point of view also, this is good because they are having access to skills, they are having access to exposure, industry exposure, and they might have, opened up themselves for the industry at large, and their availability where as a skilled laborer will be definitely beneficial for them. So this scheme emphasizes on the importance of collaboration between the government and the corporate entities, leveraging corporate social responsibility to create opportunities for young talent. So it is kind of a win-win situation for everyone. But yes, a lot lies in its implementation. Now, dealing with the MCQs, talking about the first, which of these countries have not developed the space docking technology? USA, Russia, China, France. I've said ample times. I hope you remember this. Second, the space docking technology is essential for which of the following? Space stations, interplanetary missions, or sample bring back missions? Only one and two, only one and three, or all of the above. Third question, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The PM internship scheme aims at providing internship to 1 crore youth in private companies over the next 5 years. Second is PM internship scheme also aims to bridge the skill gap. Which of these statements is are true? Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Carefully answer this. Fourth, who of the following is not eligible for benefits under the PM internship scheme? Any graduate. Second is any person whose family income is exceeding rupees 8 lakh per annum for FY24. Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. And fifth, how is norovirus spread from person to person? By eating contaminated food, by coming in close contact with the infected person. Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Huh? This is how things are. Now, discussing the answers to the MCQs of 30th of December 2024. Now, which of these are features of the Swamitva scheme? Swamitva scheme was the scheme for providing ownership rights to the people in the rural areas. Now, giving ownership rights, yes. Legal documentation of land, yes. Surveying through drones is done. Yes, this is also a feature of the Swamitva scheme. So, all of the above are the features of this particular scheme. Second, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First is the Swamitva scheme was launched by the Government of India in 2022. No, it was launched in 2020. So, this statement is wrong. The scheme supports the assessment of property taxes that directly benefit local gram panchayats. Yes, this is very true that the incomes of the gram panchayats can increase because collection of property taxes will be more transparent and easier. So, only two is going to be the correct option over here. Third, which is the nodal ministry for implementing the Swamitva scheme? Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Ministry of Agriculture, or none of the above? It is Ministry of Panchayati Raj, which is responsible for implementing the Swamitva scheme. Consider the following pairs and mark which of them is correctly matched. Surya Narayan versus Union of India. This was a relatively tough question. So, Surya Narayan versus Union of India. This was the case. Pleasure of the president in appointing the governor is not justiciable. That was there. In the Har Gobind Pant versus Raghukul Tilak case, governor's office is an independent constitutional office, not an employment under the central government. This was the scenario. So hence, this is option D. Neither one nor two is correct. Okay. So this is it from today's session. I will be seeing you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. I'm not repeating it today, but yes, wishing you again a very happy new year. Hope you have a very successful year ahead. That is it from my end. Signing off. Namaste. Jai Hind. See you tomorrow.